Hello, hello. Let's just see if I can... No. Just trying to change the orientation. Orientation is locked. Okay. I really tried. I looked at all of the settings. I took all of your advice. I YouTubed it. I Googled it. And I don't know why sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, sorry about the vertical orientation today. We just got to live with it. So I've been wanting to do this video for a while because I have been channeling extraterrestrials for, how old am I now? For 12-ish years, I would say, since 2011. And I wanted to give a little bit of a background in how I got to even channeling extraterrestrials. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to summarize the top 5, and actually there's a 6th thing that I had to add in. So the top 6 most important pieces of information that I have received from extraterrestrials over the past 12 years. This is such an epic summary video that, once again, that I've been wanting to do for a while. Also, I'm missing my phone mic, so sorry about maybe some of the audio not being as full as it usually is. Once again, deal with it. So before we get to all of the top 6 most important points that aliens have taught me and subsequently taught humanity over the past 12 years, I want to just kind of start with like how that journey really got started. A lot of you know, and some of you have no idea. And before I get started with my journey into telepathically communicating with extraterrestrials, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. I see 400 watching right now and only 90 thumbs up. So I'm going to predict that you're going to love this video, so go ahead and click that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Huge thanks to everyone who has subscribed. 200,000 subscribers is incredible, and hopefully growing, because my mission is not changing, and it's really to help everyone in humanity awaken, ascend, and move to the next vibrational level by empowering you to know that everything I can do, you can do too, and probably better than what I do. So that's kind of my mission. And also, just a side note, if you guys are interested in understanding more about extraterrestrials and their take and understanding on our planet and messages that they have, I do monthly summits with the Galactic Federation of Light and ask them really interesting questions that I don't even know myself, so I personally learn so much from those summits as well every single month, so check that out. And I haven't talked about my book lately, but if you love my stuff and you have not yet received my book or read it or listened to it, I highly recommend it. It's about going through all of the stages of awakening from the blissful ignorance to anxiety, to waking up, to questioning everything, to trying all of the modalities, all the way to what actually is your soul mission, why are you here on planet Earth, and even to the point of hybridization. Are you a hybrid? And if so, what species are you connected to? So I love how I've heard from some people like, yeah, I really loved the first part of your book, and then I got a little weird by the end. So if you're down for the weird stuff, please check out my book. It's called You're Not Dying, You're Just Waking Up. You can find it on Amazon, on Kindle. I now have a hard copy edition if you want to check that out. And then I also have an audiobook too that you can listen to. And it's really only 8 hours, so it goes by super quick. Or is it 6 hours? I forget, somewhere around there, but you can really listen to it and get through it in a day, and really anchor in those light codes. Okay, so let's just kind of start with my journey. So at 14, I was going through a really rough time. I think a lot of 14-year-olds just go through this identity crisis. Who am I? What am I doing here? What's the point of all of this? And, why are we here as a humanity? So I was questioning everything. I went through a little bit of depression, a little bit of suicidal tendencies, got put into therapy really quickly, didn't really seem to help because I didn't know what I needed, you know? At 16, it was my dad who offered my first ever past life regression. It's weird because although he is an engineer by trade, he's also very open-minded, and he ended up taking a course while he was in university studying to be an engineer. And he took a course in past life regression, which is pretty crazy. And he was reading like Brian Weiss books and a bunch of other kind of weird books. Nothing about aliens, but a lot of past life stuff, reincarnation stuff. And I didn't know what to expect at 16 with this past life regression, but I was open-minded and I really was searching for anything that could help. So at 16, I went into my first past life regression, and in about an hour and a half to 2 hours, we explored around 4 to 5 different past lifetimes. And in every single one of those past lifetimes, I was in a position to receive information and give that information to humanity. And at 16, I realized that, oh my goodness, time is an illusion. How is it possible that at 16 years old, I'm able to, in an hour and a half, go through 5 entire lifetimes? So everything I ever thought about time is an illusion. It's a lie, right? We can tap into any time at any timeline at any time. So that really blew the lid off of that. And it also made me realize that I wasn't just 16 and that I had gone through many lifetimes and that, this wasn't my first time around and that I had experience and knowledge that I could take. And that session, that hour and a half, completely reopened me to all of the possibilities. And I felt like that was my thing. I felt like I wanted to take past life regression therapy and further that field. And so that's when I ended up taking my dad's past life regression notes. I copied all of those notes into my own notebook, and then I started giving past life regressions, which probably wasn't super responsible because I was totally untrained, just really pumped and excited about it. And so 2 years later, at 18, I went away to university. And that's how I made friends. Like, I would sit in a political science class and be like, hey, do you believe in reincarnation? You want to see something cool? And I would give unsuspecting victims a regression. And my favorite people to take under would be skeptics, right? People who would students really, young people who would just not, I don't believe in past lifetimes. I don't believe in reincarnation. That's not a thing. And then I would take them under and they would be a fish, for example. And all of a sudden they're like, not only did they not believe in past lifetimes as a human being, but now all of a sudden they're experiencing past lifetimes as an animal, as a fish, as a plant, which totally blew their mind. And I loved it because for me, I was in a position where I got to take people under, guide them through so that they could see these lifetimes for themselves. And I was in a position where I could better understand who humans are, human nature. What are the lessons that humans go through? What are the challenges that humans go through all generations, through all times in human history? And what I started to observe is that humans go through the same challenges. We go through the same lessons. We repeat the same patterns over and over and over again. And so even if you think about it, if I took 100 individuals into, say, 5 past lifetimes per session, for me, I got to experience and observe 500 lifetimes, right? So I was just soaking it all in. But here's what I found. I found that at 18, that not everyone was able to be regressed. And the only reason for that, and I thought it was something that I was doing wrong as a regressionist. But turns out what it really was that people were really attached to their current lifetime. They were attached to their current identity. So for me, my biggest hurdle was, how do I give people the information in a more efficient and effective way? So that's when I started to get into deep states of trance meditation. I never had a mentor, still to this day, never had a mentor. and never learned from anyone. But I think those past lifetimes for myself really helped. I was able to put myself into that deep state of meditation. And it took a while, it took a lot of practice, but I was eventually able to get there. And in that state, I was able to regress myself into my own past lifetimes. So as I'm going into other people's past lives, I'm also exploring my own past lifetimes, just on my own free time while doing a double major in university and working a job or two. So on top of that, around that time where I'm just opening everything up and exploring all of this, and at the same time tapping into things like telepathy and empathic connection and energy healing and sound frequencies and remote viewing. I'm opening up to all of these possibilities. I go away to a 10-day meditation retreat called Vipassana. The only reason why I went away to this 10-day meditation retreat is because I actually did Vipassana in a past lifetime. So I'm like, hey, I was in India once. There's a Vipassana center 2 hours away from me in Ontario, Canada. Like, let's do it. Let's go. Great. Awesome. Thought I was just going to like chill and meditate and like be silent for 10 days. On the second night of meditation, I ended up getting abducted by aliens, like physically abducted by aliens, taken from my bed, super vivid. I have other videos and interviews where I talk about that, so I won't go into the details. It was really negative, like it was really fear-based. It was really, really scary, especially since I had never really given a second thought to aliens, alien life. I mean, why would you, right? Like, they don't affect me. Why would I have to think about them? And so that just opened up my world tenfold. I thought at 18, doing all this stuff, I thought I knew everything. I thought I was like solid, you know? I realized that I knew nothing at all, especially about the universe, what was going on outside of our planet, and why. Who are these aliens? Why are they here? What's the point? What's the purpose? Why do they even care about human beings? It just opened up the floodgates of questions and information and curiosity. And so, I mean, where do I even go from there? So from there, I started to ask the question, if we have been humans in other lifetimes, if we have been animals in other lifetimes, if we've been plants in other lifetimes, then have we been off-world beings in other lifetimes? Have we been aliens in other lifetimes? And so I started to channel my own past lifetimes. I started to regress myself into off-world lifetimes. Not only that, but I started to take my clients, at the time, my friends, into off-planet lifetimes. And I'll mention that I was so nervous. I took a friend through and I said, okay, you know, he was in a regression. We had gone through maybe a lifetime or two. And then I said, okay, so now I want you to go off planet. I want you to go to a lifetime where you were existing on another planet. And I was so pumped for this and so nervous at the same time. I'd never done that before with someone else. I was doing that for myself. So he tells me, he's like, okay, so I'm really small and I'm green. And I'm like, okay, cool, green, aliens, awesome. You know, you're probably some little green Martian alien. I don't know, right? I didn't know. And so I continue, okay, well, what does your body look like? Look down at your body. What are you wearing on your feet? Like, assuming he had feet. You know what I mean? Like, it was just so innocent. And he's like, yeah, I don't have a body. Well, I do have a body, but it's small. And there's all these other things around me. And like, it's very crowded and very tiny. So I'm like, I wasn't getting anywhere. He wasn't wearing anything. He just said he was green and small. So I said, okay, great. Move away from your body. So sometimes you have to do this. Sometimes you have to take them out of their body to see what their body looks like. And I was used to that doing on-world past life regressions. So he steps out of his body and he's like, I'm on a rock. And I'm like, oh, you're on a rock. Okay. I'm like, are you some green alien meditating on a rock? No, he's like, no, no, I'm moss. And I'm like, what? He's like, I'm moss on a rock. That was the first past life regression I did off planet. And here I am thinking he's going to be some sort of highly advanced, intelligent, extraterrestrial off planet. And he's moss. And he wasn't the whole thing of moss. He was one cell, I guess, moss cell. And he was a part of this group of all of these other conscious cells of moss. But yeah, it was off planet. So that was it. That was my first experience with that. And then, of course, I knew how to ask the right questions to go to other places, significant off-life, off-planet lifetimes. So that was my experience. Then shortly thereafter, I got introduced to a Galactic Federation member. That's when I got invited to the meeting inside the moon. And I really linked together my telepathic, my remote viewing, my trance meditation, my past life skills. Really, past life regression is just about tapping into a conscious state where time doesn't exist. It's not a specific thing, it's more of a general thing, and then you direct where you want to go in that space. So that's really how I got started. That was 2010, 2011. 18, 19 years old is when I really opened up to all of that stuff, and c'est la vie. It's been over a decade since. And I know that some of you know that background and some of you don't, but I wanted to kind of reintroduce how I even got to a place where I was communicating with extraterrestrials. And then one last piece, and then we're going to go into the top 5 things that I've learned by talking to extraterrestrials for the past 10 years plus. And what was I going to mention? Oh, shoot, I just lost it. Oh, yeah. So I was remote viewing over to the Galactic Federation mothership shortly thereafter, like after I learned about it in 2011. And I was going over like multiple times a month just to ask all my questions. I would ask questions like, okay, so I have a date tonight, and are they the one? Am I going to get married? And I was just so young and so human. And they didn't shut me down, but they said, our resources should not be spent on that question. So anyway, that just like shows you the innocence and the excitement that I had of like, answer this question about my individual human life that really doesn't, matter in the grand scheme of things. It wasn't until 2016 where the Galactic Federation says, okay, you need to be online. And I'm like, online? Really? No, I refuse. I'm going to be watched by the government. Like, I'm going to be targeted. I'm probably going to be killed, to be honest. If I get online and I say I'm channeling aliens, I'm probably going to be either labeled schizophrenic or I'm going to be killed off. Like, that was my mindset. And they said, no, you're going to be protected. You got to go online. You got to say this stuff. And I said, okay, but I'm not going to tell anyone that I'm channeling aliens. Like, I'm just not going to come out as the crazy alien chick. And that was 2016. That's when I started my YouTube channel. Fast forward again so I had 6 years, think about it, 6 years of channeling of past life regressions, of all of that. The one rule that I had when channeling, when I first started, was I will never let you into my body. I will never be a trans channeler. I will never let a ghost, a spirit, an entity, an alien, I don't care how powerful you are, you will never speak through my voice. You will never step into my body. My body is my own, and I'm protecting that. And so far, so good, right? Like, nothing has come in. And that's just been a healthy boundary rule for me anyway. Even though trans channeling is really badass. It's really cool. Love Daryl Anka and Bashar, but it's just not my jam. I just can't do that. That's why I channel the way that I do, especially in those Galactic Federation meetings. And then, and then 2020 hit. And once again, the Galactic Federation told me, you need to tell people about us. And I was so hesitant. And at the time, I think I had 2,500 YouTube subscribers. Maybe I had like 5,000 or 10,000, but not a whole lot. And then I put out my very first Galactic Federation channeled video in 2020, right when the pandemic happened. And it got over 200,000 views, more views than I've ever had, probably combined in my whole YouTube history. And I'm like, damn, that reached all of the starseeds who are Galactic Federation members who needed that light code activation. And I have been publicly channeling the Galactic Federation in these monthly summits ever since, which has been incredible, and openly saying that I actually channel aliens. And that's really only been 3 years, right? So that's my history. Now you know. And let's get to the 5/6 points that I've learned. So these are kind of the amalgamation of the top 6 things that I've learned from channeling extraterrestrials, once again, over the past 12 years. Getting old. No, I'm not. Okay. So the first point here, and thank you guys for your super chat and your support and your thumbs up and all of that. And the love. I love the love. So the first point here is planet Earth is special. That is the number one thing that I've learned from extraterrestrials, is that planet Earth is special. We are different. We're unique. We are considered a prophecy planet, which essentially just means that we are contracted to do certain things on planet Earth, and the things that we end up doing on planet Earth are going to have a huge impact for the rest of the universe. That's why we are special. There are many, many, many other planets, 3rd dimension, 4th dimension, 5th dimension, and beyond planets that are just kind of, they're growing, they're evolving, they're developing, kind of more solo, right? Planet Earth and our destiny is integrally intertwined with the destiny of the rest of the universe. So that's one of the main points that I've learned. Planet Earth is special. We are different, okay? Number 2, next point that they have given me, next piece of information that they have given me over the years. Human beings are hybrids. Dump truck is right on time. Welcome to suburbia. Oh, thank you so much, Jeff and Sharma, for the super chats. Okay, human beings are hybrids. So this really shocked me at first, but then it made sense over time, right? There absolutely is a missing link in our genetic evolution. And at the same time, we have junk DNA that scientists either can't or won't try and explain. Oh, don't worry about the 80-90% of your DNA that is dormant. Yeah, that's just junk. You don't need it. You'll never need it. Just keep watching the news. Human beings are hybrids. We are an amalgamation of many different extraterrestrial species' DNA. And part of this point right here, that humans are hybrids, is a huge integral piece of the fact that we are a prophecy planet. And what happens here with this kind of hybrid experiment, human beings, is going to affect the rest of the universe. And once again, us being a hybrid, us being an experiment is a really big part of that. All right. Point number 3 that they have given me over the years. They are more similar to us than we think. They are more similar to us than we think. This took me quite a while to learn. For many, many years, especially like before I was ever online with this information, I really praised extraterrestrials. I really thought, you guys got it all figured out. You're up there, we're down here. Your technology is there, our technology is here. Your understanding of source frequency or spirituality or belief is there, and we're still warring over religions, Like, we are archaic. And yet, the more I get to know these extraterrestrials, these aliens, the more I figure out that they are really, truly just like us. And if you guys saw the May Galactic Federation Summit, where it was just me asking all of my very curious human questions, So do you have a bathroom? And if you do, how do you go? And like, what does that look like? And does every species have the same parts? And how do you shower? Do you shower? Do you stink? What do you eat? When do you eat? How do you eat? Do you procreate? Is that allowed? What does that look like? Do you mix species? I asked all of my questions in it would be season 2023, episode 5. So that was really interesting. And through all of those questions, I realized that, yeah, a lot of them do have to eat. A lot of them do have to use the bathroom and excrete waste. A lot of them do have romantic relationships and actually have emotions, and they have mental health. They have doctors on board. They have, quote unquote, therapists on board. It is fascinating how similar they are to us. And likewise, we are to them, because remember, we are an amalgamation of them. We are a hybrid species. We're not just human, we're a hybrid. Okay, next biggest thing that I've learned from extraterrestrials over the years is that, and I kind of already went over this point, the shift on Earth is affecting them too. I really thought that we were so separate, we were so segregated, we were just kind of bumbling along, trying to figure it out. But no, as a matter of fact, and thank you so much, Vincent, for that beautiful super chat. As a matter of fact, whatever we do here and the choices that we make as a collective humanity affect not just the Galactic Federation, but the rest of the universe. And I believe I have a video on my website. I really forget what it's called. It might be called The Prophecy or The Prophecy Planet, or The Purpose of Planet Earth, something like that, where I actually really go into the prophecy of planet Earth and what is happening here and what we're prophesized to be and where we're supposed to go. So once again, the shift on Earth is affecting them too, which you never really think of. So the next biggest point that I've learned from channeling extraterrestrials is that we create individual and collective reality through our thoughts and our focus. And what's great about this point and being taught this from extraterrestrials is that this is actually science. This is actually quantum mechanics. If you know anything about quantum mechanics, you know that our conscious observation creates the reality around us. And this is a point that they continuously reiterate over and over and over again to help us understand how powerful we are in creating the physical reality around us. And this is one that they will continue to reiterate, because it is not them helping us, it is us helping ourselves. And at the point where we understand that, both individually and collectively, is the point where I believe we can join forces with the benevolent extraterrestrials and really advance our society tenfold, including things like free energy technology, solving huge environmental crises, and things like med beds, right, are all available to us once we wake up, take our power back, and choose to change the reality as we see it. And before I get to my last point, which is a very contentious point that I've learned from them, and personally, I have a very hard time. I don't want to say I have a hard time believing this point, but yeah, I have a hard time accepting it. I can believe it all day, but I have a hard time accepting it. But before I get to that last point, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and share this video with friends, family members, those that you love, because it's important that they know that they're not alone and that aliens are real, they're here, and these are kind of the amalgamated points of the biggest things they've taught me and you over the years. Also, once again, check out my book. It's called You're Not Dying, You're Just Waking Up, if you haven't already. And if you love hearing directly from extraterrestrials, then join us every single month on the 11th of every month for the Galactic Federation Summits, where I will ask questions and receive answers from different various ET species. So the last point here is that the corruption on Earth is contracted. I cannot stress this enough. Like I said, I can agree with it, but it's very hard for me as a human to accept it. The corruption on planet Earth is contracted. It is a part of our prophecy. It is a part of our collective contracts to go through war, to go through famine, to go through environmental catastrophes, to go through separation and death and religion and confusion and losing all of our past memories. It is contracted for us to go through this. And the biggest reason why it is contracted for us to go through this, you ready? It's so that we can understand the darkness within the universe, because this planet, as a prophecy, is a microcosm of the macrocosm that is this universe. And if we all collectively can see the corruption and say, you know what? No, I do not choose that. I want to choose a higher vibration. I want to choose unity. I want to choose equality. I want to choose solutions rather than separations. Remember, everyone, the planet isn't getting worse. The corruption isn't getting worse. There isn't more darkness. There isn't more negativity. There isn't more control. There is not more manipulation than there ever has been before. And that may shock you. What we're seeing right now is the unveiling of the corruption, of the control, of the manipulation that has always been here. As the vibration raises on planet Earth, which has been scientifically tracked, the lower vibrational frequencies that have been hidden in plain sight can no longer hide. It's like walking through a crystal clear lake and stirring up the muddy waters. Once again, it's not getting worse. All of the darkness is coming to the surface so that it can clear, so that humanity can see what's always been there but has been hiding in the shadows, so that we can make a choice. So, starseeds. So, galactic warriors. So, old souls. What do you choose? What reality do you want to create for all of us here on planet Earth? And with that, I just want to say thank you all so much, Jeff and everyone, super chats, all of your love, your support. As always, I will see you in the new Earth frequency. Bye for now.